Raider Nation, what's going on? I got a good one today. Got my boy Stuart Schweigert in the building. Let's get to it. Nation, what's going on? What's going on? Thank you guys for coming to the Protect the Shield podcast. It's your boy Chris. Got a good one today, guys. Got my man Stuart Schweigert, straight from Saginaw, Michigan. No further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Welcome, Stu.
Hey, Chris, man. Hey, thanks for having me on, man. I appreciate being here. I loved the intro because we talked earlier. You know, you're an Ohio guy. I see you throwing up love to C. Wood, Charles Woodson.
Yes,
sir. A guy when I was growing up in Michigan, one of my favorite players. I see you with Jacobs. I see you with Carr, who's not on the team no more. And I don't see no 30 in there, man.
You know what? I will have to change that, man. You was my guy, though.
I see a number 4, a dude that we don't speak about no more.
That's true.
Dude, you gotta throw it. You gotta put the butcher in there, bro.
I got to. I'm gonna talk to my guy. We're gonna butcher that up. We're gonna have Stu in there with the pick.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Yeah, I'll send you some. I got some good NFL films plays or whatever. I'll put in there.
There we go. We go. So just kind of talking about you being from Michigan, Saginaw. Even though I live in Ohio, I'm the diehard Michigan fan, and I need to know, how did they let you out of the state of Michigan? How did they not, or how did you not get there?
Okay, so they actually offered me my first scholarship. Actually, here, you know what? Speaking of that, I want to show something.
Okay.
Hold on 1 sec. And look at this, dude. So,
oh wow,
this was going into my. Let's see, it was after my sophomore year of high school. I went to the
camp,
the Michigan camp, right? After they had won the national championship in '97, and actually Nnamdi Asomugha went to the same camp.
Oh, nice.
And so I was an option quarterback. Coming out, I played quarterback and safety, all-state quarterback, all-state safety in the state of Michigan. And but this was, again, this was after my sophomore year, and I was more of an athlete, right? I mean, I ran the option as a quarterback. I was like another running back, veer option, and so I go to the camp, but I sign up as a quarterback. And those camps back then, it was like 1,600 kids.
Yeah.
But it was a deal where, Michigan invites their top recruits. So I remember in the quarterback line, obviously that's a big position that they fill. And there was like 4 or 5 top guys, some kid from Ohio, some kid from, Texas, some kid from whatever. So, dude, I don't even know if the coach knew my name back then. There was a guy named Freddie Jackson, who was a longtime coach here, coached the running backs. He was my recruiting. He was the guy who recruited me. So I remember sitting in the back of the line, and it was me and another kid from Fraser, Michigan. Dude, they're not even looking at us. They ain't even doing whatever, you know what I mean? So we're just back there kind of dicking around. We end up leaving and throwing a ball to each other and playing punt. Well, the guy that I'm talking about, Jesus Christ, what am I forgetting? He Jim Sorgi, quarterback for Wisconsin, who ended up playing for the Colts for 12 years.
Yeah.
Both me and him are just in the back,
Just dicking around.
Michigan ain't paying us no mind at all, right?
Right.
So, I was a track guy. I was a fast guy. So Fred Jackson, there was this thing called the smokehouse. And what it was they would bring, and you had to be going into your senior year to be eligible for this smokehouse. So what they did is they took the top 5 players at each position. So when I say top players, I'd say the biggest recruits that they want, right? So at each position, and you run a 40-yard dash race.
Oh, wow.
And it's in the indoor facility. And I remember Fred Jackson came because I was too young for it. He's like, Stu, you're pretty fast, right? Because at this time I was running track, but my times, I made a big jump from my sophomore and junior year. So my times were good, but I was just kind of getting on the scene, And he said, Stu, he goes, you want to run in this thing? And I'm like, fuck yeah, let's go. You know what I mean? Let's roll with this thing, right? So I go in there and there's like bleachers because Michigan would invite coaches from everywhere, right? So I mean, it's filled with, MAC conference coaches. I don't think there's any other Big Ten schools there, but there's like probably 150 coaches in the stands, right?
Yeah.
So I'm running with the quarterbacks, right? So
they're.
I mean, back then Michigan's recruiting, 6
Tom Brady's.
Dudes that sit in the pocket or whatever. So we run this race, and I won the 40-yard dash by probably 10 yards. And everyone's like, whoa, like this. And Fred Jackson was like, oh shit. He's like, Stu, because I wasn't supposed to be in it. He's like, God damn, I knew you were fat. I didn't know you were going to do that. And I'm like, okay. And I went right from there through the door of the facility, the indoor facility, right up to Lloyd Carr's office.
Yeah.
And actually I have a picture from that actual meeting. So they put me in Lloyd Carr's office. And I'm sitting there, and it's his desk. He's got the national championship trophy behind him. He's got the big national championship ring. And he's saying, Stu, because he said, Stu, are you a Michigan guy? And I said, yeah. And growing up, my sister went to Michigan State. My brothers played football at Northwood, a Division II school up there. But our family was kind of split. When I grew up, I wasn't like a huge fan. Like I knew who the players were, but I didn't really know. What's that? Of what?
You were of our of our youth.
So actually, right now, I want to introduce someone. Come over here.
All right, I will.
So this is actually a very close friend of mine, Mike Gauthier. He's from Saginaw. He went to my high school. He's a little bit younger. Mm-hmm. His uncle was my first football coach.
Okay.
And he works now for Stryker in Fort Wayne, Indiana. And he was coming up from Indianapolis today from a golf outing. So I said, yeah, stop up. So
nice.
Michael, yeah. So he's going to join us in this interview if you don't mind.
Oh, yeah. No doubt, man. Yeah. Awesome.
So Sue was like what we looked up to as like a kid, he's not too much older than me, but enough older than me to like where you like wanted. I mean, being a younger white athlete, like you're like, damn, you see this motherfucker?
You don't see that often.
Like, no shit. Like, I want to do it too. And I got to experience a little bit of that. Like, I mean, I played a little bit of college football, and I got like a little bit of a recollection from our high school coach that we actually talked to today.
Yeah, and we called my high school our high school coach, same guy, and it was kind of cool for him to speak to him. Yeah,
but he paid dividends to our both of he and I's records. But growing up though, like Stu was like who I wanted to be.
Yeah,
I wanted to be,
and that means a lot here and that because that's cool because unfortunately nowadays there's a lot of guys who are put in a role model position, and I don't think they fully accept and understand that what they say people listen to, and it's something we could talk about. But anyways, this is Mike. So I'm sitting there.
That's my as a young kid, my idol here. So
that's awesome, though.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
And but now I'm really proud of him, what he's doing too. But anyways, enough of us blowing each other. Okay. So let's just move on. So I'm sitting there with Lloyd Carr and, he's Stu, you a Michigan guy? And I'm like, well, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Would you like to play at Michigan? I'm thinking, sure. Yeah. And we snap a picture. I leave. Because during that time too, like they give me tickets to all the basketball games, all the football games.
Because Saginaw is not far from Ann Arbor, right?
No, it's about 45 minutes.
Yeah. Okay.
45 minutes. Yeah. Right down Highway 69. And no, Michigan State's off 69. But anyway, yeah, no, it's close.
Nasty.
It's close. And so then, they're recruiting me. And well, at that time they were, again, they were kind of the first school to really offer me a scholarship, because later on, I think that summer they did send me the deal that said officially, we have a scholarship offer for you or whatnot. Right. Yeah. Well, other schools start recruiting me, so I start signing up and getting ready to take visits.
Yeah.
So this is December of my junior year, and Fred Jackson calls me up because, again, about 6 months before that was when I was at that camp, right?
Yeah.
So Fred Jackson calls me up. He says, "Stu," he goes, what the fuck's going on? I'm like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Why are you taking these visits?"
Oh, he thought it was in the bag already.
Yeah, and I'm like, "Well, I get 5 visits," and
yeah.
I'm like, Michigan's number 1, but I'm like, I'm
taking my visits.
I'm going there to compare them against Michigan.
Right.
He says, well, what do you mean? You committed to us already? And I said, I did? I said, what? He goes, yeah. He goes, hey, remember when you were in Lloyd Carr's office? I said, yeah. He goes, you verbally committed to Michigan. I said, no, I didn't. And then he says, well, what, are you calling Lloyd Carr a liar? And I'm like, yo, I'm not saying that. I mean, I'm like 15, 16 years old. I'm like, no, I ain't saying that either. And so from December or late December, early January of my junior year, all the way, so my junior track season, and that's when I won the 100-meter dash state championship.
Yeah,
that was the coolest thing ever, by the way.
You beat what? Charles Rogers, right?
Charles Rogers, yeah.
Which was the fastest person in the nation at that time.
Yeah, I remember.
Stu beat him.
So Charles Rogers and
that's what made me feel like I could do something. So
yeah, I got to.
You're good. Yeah. No, Charles Rogers, a very close friend of mine from Saginaw.
Same.
We battled in football, track, basketball. God rest his soul. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think today's his death anniversary.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
And but anyways, so my junior year, I win the state championship in the 100-meter dash, break a state track meet record, first white guy to win it since 1956. Yeah. No call from Michigan, no tickets. My senior year, I'm coming in, so I was considered an athlete, and Tom Lemming had me as a 5-star recruit. Super Prep, which I have, rated me as a 32 best player high school, or 32nd best high school player in the country. And then I was the number 2 skilled athlete in the country. Okay. Right? No talk from Michigan, nothing. So I take my visits to Wisconsin, Notre Dame, Michigan State, and Purdue. And literally about a week before National Signing Day, I get a call, and that was back when we had the American Bell ID caller.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? You hook your phone cable into that, and then that into your phone. Yeah. And I see Fred Jackson, and I'm like, "Fuck is this motherfucker calling me?" You know what I'm saying? So I pick it up, and he's like, "Hey, Stu, what's up?" I said, "What's up?" I said, "What do you mean, what's up?" I'm like, "This is the time where you're supposed to be whining and dining me and schmoozing me, and you're nowhere around." So I'm thinking, I know if I were to go down there, what happened if I don't play well? You don't give a shit.
Right.
You just expected because I was in the backyard that you were going to come out. You know what I'm saying? Well, and I'm thinking, do you think I'm stupid? I know that you're looking at other safeties. It's not like if I commit, you're going to stop.
You're going to right.
I talked with him about an hour. At the end of the conversation, he said, "Hey, Stu, here's Lloyd Carr's home phone number. He's got a scholarship waiting for you." Obviously, I never made the call. Went to Purdue. Best decision I ever made in my life. Joe Tiller, Brock Spack. Brock Spack was my defensive coordinator, also the guy who recruited me. So that would be the reason why Michigan was not. And here's what happens. And I had a trading business where I talk about recruiting and stuff like that. Schools will eliminate themselves.
Yeah.
As you go through the process, there will be things where they'll be taken off the list because of certain things. Yeah. And then basically by the end of it, you look at the ones who you haven't taken off yet, and then you
compare them to the visit. Yeah.
Yep.
So I mean, just like their looking at you, you're looking at them,
Yeah.
so they, that's crazy. They just took you for granted.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm thinking, man, this is the time where you're really supposed to be like
go in. Yeah.
Blowing smoke up my ass. And I'm like, you just leave me alone. And I'm thinking, well, shit, what happens if I go there?
Yeah.
And I'm not the man. You're not gonna give me any fucking time or give me any benefit of the doubt or
right.
Just if I don't play exactly the way I'm supposed to, they're just gonna move on to somebody else.
So it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
So.
Right. Well, so you went to Purdue, you kicked ass, 2-time first team Big Ten, 2-time second team Big Ten, freshman of the year. You guys won the Big Ten, your first year? Your freshman year?
My freshman year, yeah. I was when I was 19, Drew Brees was our quarterback. I led the team in tackles. I led the team in interceptions as a true freshman. Big Ten freshman of the year. Drew Brees was the Big Ten offensive player of the year. First time we won the Big Ten and went to the Rose Bowl since 1967 when Bob Greasy was the quarterback and Leroy Keys and those type of guys. So, Purdue, was the best place I could have went. Met my wife here, been with my wife for 23 years. She was an All-American hurdler at Purdue. And that's why we moved back here to West Lafayette. So,
nice.
Again, a great coaching staff. Again, I talked about Brock Spack, who was a defensive coordinator, head coach. He's the head coach at Illinois State, one of Illinois State's most winningest head coaches. We had guys like Jim Chaney, who's been an offensive coordinator all over the place. Greg Olson was a quarterback coach. He's now the quarterback coach for the Rams. He's been in the NFL for 20 years. Yeah. You had Kevin Sumlin, who was a wide receivers coach at Purdue, who was, the coach at Houston and coached Johnny Manziel at Texas A&M. So Joe Tiller passed away a couple years ago, but we had a great staff, and, coming down here was the best thing I ever did. I still hold Purdue's all-time interception record.
Yeah, you beat Rod Woodson.
Rod Woodson, another great Boilermaker alumni. His record was 11. I tied that my sophomore year and finished my career with 17. Yeah, so I think second all time for tackles. And
mind you, in Saginaw, Michigan, he's like the hero of all time.
Oh yeah.
Hey, I didn't just have him on to be my.
I was about to say you paid him.
I'm
on a payroll.
The motherfucker, that's why he had to move away, because he had to
No, it's actually cool to have someone from the area.
Yeah. I moved away too, but when you go into a place and with Stuart, people are like, "Oh, that's Stuart Schweigert."
But what's one of my best compliments I told you that people say?
He's the most humble person in the world.
Humble, but also I'm the same that I always was.
Always.
Yeah.
He always is. He wears the same shit, does the same stuff.
That's cool, man. It's hard
we were actually watching some old Raiders interviews and shit,
I was
man.
making fun of him for his outfits.
I said I was just gonna be me, man. I wasn't gonna do anything else besides
stupid.
that. Yeah,
man, that's the way to do it.
I'd be fitted like a motherfucker if I was that, but no.
Nah, man. I just kept it. I just did me, man.
No, he had some Carhartts on, some.
I had some Aldo sandals, some cargo shorts.
Cargo shorts and some stupid sandals.
Woodson used to call me that 70 show. That was his nickname for me.
Oh, that's what he used to call you?
Yeah.
So 2004, you get drafted.
I want to say this, hey, as someone who had his own radio show for a while, as someone who's been interviewed by a lot of people, and someone who also does interviews, I appreciate the fact that you did your research.
Oh, absolutely.
Because I've had it before where I'm like, do you even know who the fuck you're interviewing right now? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I that doesn't go unnoticed. So the fact that you're pulling out some of these stats and stuff like that, that's good. That's good.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it.
And is it okay to swear? I don't know if you're sure.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
No, you be you. You know what? When we talked on the phone earlier, man, I was just really thinking about what we were saying, and like I said, I'm starting this from the ground up. And you just kept it real, man, just be yourself. Yeah. And honestly, as I'm trying to find my lane in here, sometimes I'm thinking about, how do I want to portray myself? But I'm like, fuck it, I'm gonna be myself.
Well, you can
love it or hate it.
You can pull some stuff, from. And here's the deal: what you want to do. It's just like when I came in as a rookie, right? I'm looking and going at the guys on my team. I'm thinking, at the end of the day, who would I want to be most like, right?
Right.
And whoever I pick that I'd want to be the most like, I'm gonna definitely
take some up from that.
Take some stuff from them and reach out to them and see if I can, not hate on the dude or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like learn from them. So one of the things is, you pick, you pull from stuff, but ultimately, and you're always, I'm always, when people give you, hey, you should try, just, hey, thank you very much. And doesn't mean you have to use it.
Right.
I mean, you're never going to, shut somebody down. Just, be polite to everybody. But yeah, you do a
good job with that.
Thank you.
By the way, I mean, the reason why I became successful, I think, today is part of the reason why Stu presented himself the way he did. He bought a football team with my uncle, actually. The Saginaw
Sting indoor football team.
And so
Saginaw Sting.
Yeah, I did a little work for them.
And so he actually worked for us with the Saginaw Sting.
Briefly, just did some sales and get some sponsors.
Yep.
And whatnot. But in addition, I saw Stu being very presentable about himself and how he presented himself and with amongst everyone, not only the players but the personnel and everybody that worked for that. And in addition, how he put himself together, his appearance. And I was like, dang, I want to be that person. And mind you, I'm 10 years younger than him. 13 probably.
Well, 9, right? You're 30.
Wait, how
34.
So
no. So I'm
a years
40,
younger.
I'm 41.
So
you're 7. Yeah.
So therefore, mind you, I'm getting into my career at that point. And I had the opportunity to do that with my uncle and him, and see that
one thing too,
tenfold.
like I try to tell some people is the way that I learn.
Well, tenfold.
You close your mouth and open your ears and listen, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because there's so many people that you have an opportunity to talk to somebody, and all you're doing is you're talking and you're not even letting that person go, or you're trying to, when they say something, like that active listening shit,
you're not really listening. You're just waiting until I shut up so you can
listen
talk
properly, and then you congest it and you hear it, and then I saw that firsthand and tenfold, and then therefore I conjuncted my career on that as well, and I've become pretty successful in myself, and the part of the reason is because I looked at him and my uncle being so successful, and I'm like, I want to do that. I want to be that person.
And that's cool for him too, because a lot of people don't know how to give praise.
Right.
A lot of people don't know how to. I know we're kind of off topic here, but even
sorry.
No, you're fine. Being able to say, no, that dude's a baller, bro. Fuck that dude. It's
okay to give love. It's okay to give love. Yeah.
He's a good person though, outside of just being, an NFL player. He came to our back to our where we live, back in
Saginaw, Michigan. Sometimes,
and he was a representative of himself and then of a community. And honestly, dude, you did a good job, and you're a good man.
Thank you.
Really are.
Awesome.
Thank you. So you're good. He is a good man.
Thank you.
So
Stu, getting drafted in 2004. So I know now we can kind of look on YouTube and look at the call of the coach calling the guy.
I can't find nothing on mine.
Hey, that's what I was about to say. So back then, 20 years ago, Al Davis, was he the man? Is he the one who called you?
No.
How did that work back then?
So back then it was round 1, 2, and 3 were day 1.
Oh yeah, yep.
So day 1 was always a big deal. You want to be drafted on day 1, right?
Yeah.
And then Sunday was 4, 5th, 6th, and 7th. So they always, obviously, your agent's telling you. My agent was Ben Dogger from SFX, now CAA. Him and Mark Helligman Stu, it's going to be a long, because it started at noon, right?
Yeah.
And I knew, obviously I knew Sean Taylor was going to be taken as the first safety.
Yeah.
But after that, you had, Bob Sanders and Sean Jones and Madu Williams and these guys.
Man,
and I'm thinking,
that's a good safety class.
Yeah, I'm thinking, I played 4 years against Bob Sanders, and I was always first team All Big Ten and stuff. And he had injury. So anyways, I'm looking at, and they give you these evaluations, which don't mean shit. I'm so jealous of basketball, the NBA, because those guys can go to the combine, talk to the coaches, see like, hey, where do you see me going? And if they're like, they can go back and
they can go back to the
NFL.
college.
Like it's like,
now, would you have done that? Would you have done that? Like if you?
Oh, absolutely. So my junior year, there was the closest thing that we had was there was these companies. If you were going to be a kid who was going to get drafted, you could get an insurance policy taken out for your senior year, right? Okay. So for instance, like if they say, hey, this kid's projected to be a first round pick, if he gets hurt his senior year, we can pay him out, $2 million because he's not making the NFL. Wow. But yeah. Okay. So you do this evaluation, and they said, late first, early 6th round pick. And I'm like, that don't tell me fucking nothing. Like,
you could get drafted any day.
Yeah. So
I'm projected second round.
I'm thinking, I legitimately, I'm going. I feel I'm a early second round pick. Maybe the third safety taken.
Yeah.
So they take Sean Taylor, and then the Colts take Bob Sanders, and then Bengals take Madu Williams. The Cleveland Browns take Sean Jones, and then finally, so I didn't get. There was no contact during my junior year, Senior Bowl, Combine with the Raiders at all. Nothing.
So they weren't on your radar at all.
No, at the NFL Combine later in the evening, they give you a card, and from 8 to 10 o'clock, every 15 minutes, you're going into a suite and talking to the head coaches, the GMs, and they're just firing questions off at you, right? There's a chair over here, then they're on like a bench, and it's everyone in there. And every 15 minutes, they blow a horn, and next group, whatever. But from 10 to 11, there's a big conference center, and you go in there afterwards, and there'll be coaches in there that'll grab you. You fill out questionnaires, right? So the only contact I had with the Raiders after one of those things, I end up going into the convention center. I'm sitting there, and people are grabbing you, and this older black man comes up, and he's got like this old school Raiders hat that's like sun faded, and this, and he's got some tapered sweatpants on, and like this old ass like Raiders like fleece or whatever. And he's like, he has his glasses, and he's like, hey son, come over here, sit down or whatever. I'm like, all right, so I sit down, and he's sitting there, he's like this, he's going just like this. I sat down, and he's going, what's your name? And I'm like, Stuart Schweigert. And he's like, school. I'm like, Purdue. He's like, cell phone number. And I'm going, this motherfucker doesn't have like any of this information. Like,
right.
He's like, 3 best games, 3 worst games, email address.
Asked you that? They didn't already know?
Email address. And he's like, all right, son, thank you very much. Well, it was Willie Brown.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So when I'm going through the draft, right, it starts at noon. So obviously, like I told you, I knew Sean Taylor. And then in the first round, the Colts, and I'm coming from Indiana, Purdue, they drafted safety, Bob Sanders. And then Chuck Pagano, who was my DB coach during my best years in Oakland, who was the head coach of the Colts, defensive coordinator, now retired, still a close friend of mine. I actually just talked to him yesterday. He came and did a private workout with me. They draft Sean Jones, and I'm like, it's like 8:30 at night, and they always tell you like be careful about throwing a party because just like I think it's messed up that the NFL invites a guy to the combine, and I'm thinking
and make them sit there if they don't get drafted. That's crazy.
And just they look at. I'm like, man, you shouldn't have invited this. You shouldn't, because if I don't invite me, that means I'm going to be drafted in the first round. You know what I mean? So anyways, I'm sitting there, and a close friend of mine, an older gentleman, one of my former coaches, rented us a limo, and he's like, Stu, you know what? Just take your buddies out. Fuck the draft, whatever. Just get your mind off it, right? Because I'm like, people now are like, hey man, it'll happen. And I remember us coming back, and it was about 8:30, and my brother-in-law, Tom Brancho, his brother, so my brother-in-law's brother, Mark Brancho, he comes out, and he works for Bud Light, and he has like this Bud Light varsity jacket.
Yeah.
It's got, it says Bud Light, and then it's got like the black leather, and he said, Stu, he He goes, hey man, this is my lucky jacket. And he's like, it'll happen soon. And I'm putting in my left arm in the sleeve, and also my phone vibrates, and I see like private. And I'm outside because my dad, he had a gym called Old Town Gym and Equipment, and next to it was this bar called Meinberg's, and that's where we had my draft party at, right? So I'm outside at this point, and I answer it. I'm like, hello, and it's a woman, and she's like, can I speak to Stuart Schweigert? And I said, yeah, this is him. And she says, well, I just want to be the first to congratulate you on being selected 67th or 66th overall by the Oakland Raiders. And I'm like,
is it Amy?
So I thought for many years it was Amy, right? And I'm like, is this some fucking kind of joke? Because I'm thinking it's going to be Mark or Al Davis or, you know what I'm saying? And she's like, yeah. And she says, hey, this is Saturday night. And she's like, I just need your information because we're going to book your flight. We have OTAs or the first mini camp that Thursday. And as I'm talking to her, I hear the bar just like erupt because it came on the screen that I was drafted or whatever. Yeah, and she just said, hey, congratulations, your flight leaves out of what's the closest airport? I said MBS. She said, congratulations on becoming a Raider, and see you Thursday. Yeah, so
who was it?
I always
don't know.
I thought it was Amy Trask the whole time, and
right.
I still talk with Amy, and I told her that story. She goes, that wasn't me. So I think it might have been Al's secretary, Fudgy. I think Fudgy. I can't remember what her last name was, but I was Al's pick for that draft. So I think he just walked in and was like, hey, call Stu and tell him we're drafting him. And she just hit me up, and yeah.
So okay. So what do you mean, like you were Al's pick? So like, did he really just pick, like, forget what the coaches say? This is who I want.
Yeah. He would come in and say, you're taking this guy right now. And actually, he wanted to take me in the second round, and Norv Turner said, I think Stu will be around in the third. They drafted Jake Grove, and then I was still there, and they picked me up. But I was Al's pick.
Because you were fast. What, you 4.4 40 at the combine?
Yeah, I was at the combine 6'3", 218. So me and Sean Taylor were the biggest safeties in a while. Most safeties are 5'11", 5'10",
Yeah.
And I ran a 4.44. I actually ran the fastest L shuttle time in the entire combine. So so I had
I
speed.
love that.
Yes, you did.
No, that's awesome, man. So you get drafted, you come to a good team. Well,
why don't we do this? Okay. I think this is a good first interview.
Yeah.
Because I want to get into some of that stuff, but it'll take a little bit. So I think this is a good first start.
Okay.
I appreciate you having me on, and we'll definitely continue this. I would like to have you on my show sometime as well. I do want to say this. While people are listening, I'd like you to tell them why they need to tune into your show over someone else's show. What is it that you're doing that's going to be different from the other people? And we talked about it earlier, and I hope you say what I think you're going to say.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So I think, the reason is, I wanted to have a platform where it was going to be fans that love the team, that's going to have positivity.
Sure.
We're going to put the team first. I think one thing that I've noticed in a lot of the social media sites is just a lot of negativity, bashing the coach, bashing the organization. And I always say players and coaches will come and go, but we got to always protect the shield. So I want to make sure I have a platform where we're keeping it real. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's okay to be, to hold people accountable, but we're going to be positive. At the end of the day, we all love the same team. Fans argue. The Raider Nation is arguing more right now with each other than what we argue with the Broncos fans, Chiefs fans, and Chargers.
Yep. And that's why I wanted to take a minute to highlight that, because you got to remember too is those players are people just like anybody else, right? You know what I'm saying? Like just sit there and he's trash and he's garbage and he's this, and I'm thinking like,
Like, come on.
Yeah, I mean, like, you don't need to, like, especially if a guy.
What you guys do for your life, like that's no.
Well, no, yeah, what you're putting over there, but also too, it's like if a guy misses a tackle, a guy drops a ball, or a quarterback throws a pick, like that's gonna happen, man.
Exactly.
Like those guys are getting paid too. Now, if a player's doing something personal foul, or he's not showing up for stuff, or he's doing things that are costing the team something,
that's a different story.
Then mother F the dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But don't sit there and trash a guy because a guy caught a ball over him, or maybe he dropped the ball, or
it happens.
Yeah, that's going to happen. So I like the positiveness. I like the fact of, bringing the nation together. Let's put in, and again, I'm all about positive energy. I'm about treating people the other way you want to be treated. But if you are going to, get heated on some stuff, which I do, let's direct it towards other teams. And
exactly.
Here's the deal. Everyone in that organization, from Mark down to the guy who cleans the seats at the stadium, we all want everything they're doing is to put the Raiders in a good position of their back, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's the intention.
Yeah. So I'm gonna be behind them. I'm going to be behind McDaniels at least for another year, because now he's bringing in the guys that he wants, getting rid of the guys he doesn't. I see a method to what he's doing. Guys he's getting, high character guys that are going to fit into his system. So it's going to take a little bit. Let's give the guys some time. I trust if Al brought him in, or I trust if Mark brought him in, he's our best option. And whoever guy we didn't draft them because they didn't fit into what we were doing. So
exactly.
I was pumped to hear that with you. Yeah, man, I'm excited that you got a hold of me. How was it over at your parents' house?
Oh, good. Yeah, I was able to hang with them for a little bit. So, it's always good, because actually my mom's going to be out of town for Mother's Day. So I actually won't get a chance to see her. So
okay. And like I said, man, I love Midwest. Ohio, Indiana, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Illinois, good football comes out of there. So, man, I'm very happy, and thank you for allowing me to come on the show. But we will definitely keep this going, man. Yeah,
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. Do you want to talk about your, anything that you're doing outside?
I have my channel on YouTube, which is Stuart Schweigert. I have my Instagram, which is, I think, just Stuart Schweigert. Let me see. Stuart Schweigert 30 is my Instagram. My Twitter is at ThyButcher9, ThyButcher9, the number 9. And then my Facebook is just Stuart Schweigert.
Sweet. Well, look, man, I really appreciate your time, man. Yeah, let's do it again, a part 2. I got some good questions. I really want to hear some stories that I know.
We'll probably do a part 3, 4, 5, 6,
nice meeting you,
and 7, man, for real.
Let's do it, man. I appreciate that so much, man. I really do.
Nice meeting you, man. Appreciate it.
You too, man. You guys take care.
All right, brother. Hey, have a good weekend now.
All right. Thanks, Stu.
See ya.
All right, guys. Well, that actually went well. So it looks like there's going to be a part 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm going to keep that going. I got some good questions for him. I'm excited to hear some of these stories. I've heard them say in other podcasts. So definitely looking forward to that. Fellas, make sure you guys are taking care of your mothers, your wives, sisters over the weekend for Mother's Day. I want to wish all the ladies happy Mother's Day. And as I always say, guys, coaches and players come and go, but we always got to protect the shield. You guys take care and be safe.